Nikola Jokic, we need to give him credit. He put on a masterclass in Game 5. He shot 8 of 9 against Rudy Gobert. This, by the way, is the 10th time that the Defensive Player of the Year has faced off against the MVP in the playoffs. I know this has your attention, Stephen A., but I have to ask, is this more about the utter dominance of Jokic reasserting himself as the best player in the world, or an underwhelming performance of the #1 defense?
How about both? I mean, both works for me. He's the 3-time league MVP. He's playing like it. He's reminding us of the level of greatness he possesses, that he's the best player in the game and that nobody can stop him. But in the same breath, we're talking about a Minnesota team that was the #1 ranked defense in the National Basketball Association this year, led by a now 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert. We know it's a collective effort. We know that one person isn't to blame. We understand all of that. But at the end of the day, when you're a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, could you show me something? Could you show me that at least you serve as somewhat of an impediment to a great player like Jokic in a way that others cannot? Could you at least do that, as opposed to allowing Nikola Jokic to look like he's normally looked against anybody else? It would be nice. That hasn't been the case over the last 3 games. They've gone from averaging 89 points in the first 2 to 114 points in the last 3 games, shooting 55% from the field after shooting 40% from the field in the first 2 games, shooting 47% from 3 after shooting 36% from 3 in the first 2 games. It's a combination of both.
Yeah, and look, you'd like to see what he said, both, because the Defensive Player of the Year should be able to stop or slow down his opponent, especially at the same position. We talked about that. You don't often see the Defensive Player of the Year get scored on and give body language to his bench and to his teammates like, what am I supposed to do? That's normal for a good defender, for an average NBA player, but for the Defensive Player of the Year, that player is used to stopping, or like I said, at minimum, slowing down. So is it the greatness of Jokic or the Wolves' disappointing? I actually think it's Jokic. I mean, I'd like to see Minnesota's defense do more what they did in Game 1 and 2, but Jokic is fascinating because from the center position, we've never seen someone, in Perk, you played the center position, manage a game from the center position, bring the ball up the court, initiate the offense from the center position. Jokic will handle in the pick and roll. That just never you didn't see centers being the handler in the pick and roll. Draymond Green, if you want to call him a center, he would do that at times. But anyways, fascinated with this game in particular, Malika. This is it for Minnesota. I mean, can they find what they had in games 1 and 2? Can they show us what that #1 defense was? Or this could be more of Jokic and more of Denver asserting themselves and finishing the series out?
Oh, no.
No what? Like, no to what?
He's not getting off the hook that easy. Well, look, we got the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, same position, going head-to-head, okay? And when we talk about the Defensive Player of the Year and Rudy Gobert, can he stop Jokic? No one can. He's the most skilled center to ever touch the damn basketball. But he can be the instigator and not the retaliator. So when I'm watching him, let's be honest. Let's call it spade a spade. He's being soft, big Twinkie. He's creamy in the middle, okay, right now. And when I think about my matchups, Bob, you remember you represented a certain someone that might be sitting next to you in 2008 when we won the championship. And who was I going against? Paul Gasol, right, with a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah.
You remember what you texted me after we won that series? I do. If you don't. You text me all
I'm glad you remember.
I did.
What did I say?
You text me all the newspaper articles about how they were killing Paul Gasol for being soft because I punked him. And look, I could sit up here and make an argument that I've had more of a defensive presence or a better defensive presence in the playoffs than Rudy, and especially when it comes down to rim protection. For his career, he got 1 game with 7 blocks. I got 1 game. He got 1 game with 5 blocks. I got 2 games. We tied with 4 blocks apiece. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is, when you're talking about a guy that's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, look, his presence could be felt outside of Jokic, right? He could be intimidating, whether that's guarding the pick and rolls, whether that's swatting the ball out of bounds, whatever it may be, his presence hasn't been felt, and it needs to tonight, because I feel like tonight is a legacy moment for Rudy.
So what do they need to do? I mean, they've tried the double big. His passing is too good. They've tried one-on-one with Rudy Gobert. That hasn't worked. They've had 3 bigs out on the floor at the same time. What more can they do?
Malika, this man got 4 championships as an executive. This man has went to 2 NBA Finals, 3 NBA Finals, got a championship with the Boston Celtics, okay? Little old me, this is what I've listened to is all my years of reporting, listening to guys that have been involved in the game. You know what they've said to me? Damn it, who's the best guy? try to find a way to neutralize him and force somebody else to hurt you. How about that? I understand Aaron Gordon has been getting his. I understand that Jamal Murray has elevated his level of play. I understand we've seen these from a collective effort from the Denver Nuggets. But Jokic has been busting Rudy Gobert, you know what? And that, you cannot stand around looking helpless, looking for help. You weren't looking for help when it came to getting that trophy. You wasn't looking for help when it came to hoisting that Defensive Player of the Year trophy. You was very, very receptive to receiving that, and y'all was feeling yourself when you was up 2-0, and then you get bum rushed like this? Come on, you got to do something.
Well,
you got to do something.
Here's my problem, because when you do face these type of players, Stephen, you covered the NBA a long time, and there are players like this guy, Jokic. There's been great offensive players. There's been fantastic MVPs, all the above. What is problematic about this guy is how efficient he's doing it. See, sometimes stars get 35 points and they shoot 30 times. This guy's doing it, shooting, what, 66%?
Right.
That's the issue I have with the defense.
But, Bob, let me say this to you. Your first NBA championship as an executive was on the back of who? Steph Curry, right? Did he get Finals MVP that year?
Nope.
No, Andre Iguodala got it. They had to carry Matthew Dellavedova out on the damn stretcher because he left it all out on the floor for us doing a great defensive job on Steph Curry. That was all heart and effort. That's all we asking.
Okay, fair enough.
I thought that.
By the way, Steph would say Dellavedova didn't bother him.
No, that's what Steph is supposed to say.
He probably didn't.
If the man has 40, that's one thing. If the man has 13 assists, that's one thing. He can't have all of that be on the menu.
NBA